Hello everybody, welcome back to my television review series. Today we'll be discussing an FX original in conjunction with some Australian filmmakers, Mr. Inbetween Season 1. Just got finished watching it on Hulu. You know how these ones go. I will give you my overall impressions and grade, just anything major that stuck out to me, my thoughts, without giving you too much plot synopsis and character development. If you've not seen the show and would like to, you're going to want to shut off the video after I give the grade, because we will be discussing the plot and the characters, as well as any major themes. So to start off, again, I watched this on Hulu, but it premiered on FX. I believe it came out in 2018. There's 3 seasons. First season was very short. It was only 6 episodes, and each episode is 25 minutes long. I think I saw season 2 had 11 seasons, and season 3 had like 8 or 9. It's not super structured in the episode length or the episode number, but it says Mr. Inbetween is a half-hour comedy series inspired by the cult film The Magician and centers around Ray Shoesmith. Juggling a relationship, parental responsibilities, friendships, and a sick brother while earning a living would be difficult for anyone. But it's particularly difficult for Ray, since he's a criminal for hire. Ray takes care of people, collecting debts, relieving them of drugs and guns, and often taking care of them on a more permanent basis. Ray demands respect and does not tolerate it when someone disregards his very clear code of ethics. The first episode was on September 5th, 2018. So again, it does say Australian, I believe, but Australian actors. So honestly, whenever you get a London accent, or I'm pretty good with London. I'm from South Wales. I'm from Sussex. I'm from Sussex, not Wales. Excuse me. Went up to Leeds last week for some crumpets and some black pudding. Whenever you get a show with an Australian or an English accent, as an American, it's just hard to hear the lines sometimes. Like literally, just what are they saying? So I'm getting there with the Australian one, just focusing in with major distract, not major, but like in some of the lines, it's just hard to hear what they're articulating. So, but again, not much detraction. The word comedy I thought was interesting, because I read these things before I watch the show. So if there's any comedy aspect to it, it's really dry, like humor type of thing. But I really like Ray's characterization. Just nonchalant, doesn't get too mad. He'll let the 223s fly. Well, I guess in this season he's got some sort of like a side-loading gun that he gets from his friend. So I don't really know what kind of gun that is. But it's just like the tone, like when we were reviewing Snowfall, it has an interesting kind of tonality to the production, because it's trying to set in the 80s. In the same kind of way, this one has its own type of just kind of like tonality to it, vibe to it, mood to just the characterization, which I enjoy. So the Australian accent, well, I do like the Australian accent, and one of the best words I've ever heard out of Australia or of anywhere is sunnies. Sunnies for sunglasses, absolute fucking awesome. So, or ace, I guess that's what we say in England, that's ace. But sunnies is a great fucking word. When I heard after Bill Nye, my second favorite scientist is Scott Gonson from Australia, with How Ridiculous. And so if you ever need some very in-depth scientific discussions, you're going to want to watch How Ridiculous on YouTube, and they have sections called Science with Gonson. You might learn about wafties, waves of force transfer. This is a term they came up with on one of the recent episodes, which I thought was fucking hilarious. But anyway, I like the Australian accent. Hard to hear the articulation of some of the words. I like the violence and the crime aspect to it. If there was, and when I read it on Hulu, like the description of the show, it didn't say comedy. So I'm not sure. Again, I just want to see what the writers of the show intended and see if the production matched my expectations. And so, again, if it was an attempt at comedy, I think it gave it an interesting mood. Regardless, I think the mood is good in general. I like the characterization for the crime drama a little bit different. So overall, I'll give it a B, mainly because I have to strain to hear some of the lines. But would have been same side to B plus as in Snowfall and mine as the previous 2 crime shows I reviewed. But just the Australian accent, and then I'm just not exactly sure if it was supposed to be a comedy thing. It says comedy in this one. On Hulu, it doesn't really say comedy. If it's not intended to be comedy, I think it does have a good tone to it. If it is supposed to be comedy, I'll probably bump it down to a B minus. But I think the violence is good. I think the characterization is good. Really like Ray Shoesmith, and major themes just doing crime stuff. He's a crime guy for hire, so he's doing crimes. So that's my overall impressions. If you not want to see the show, I definitely recommend it. B again is highly entertaining. The A range is extremely well done. C is whatever. D is off-putting, and F is I shut off the show. So if you want to watch it, I definitely recommend it, and I'm going to shut off this video here. So the season opens up, again, quick season, 6 episodes, 25 minutes apiece. Ray is talking to somebody on some ledge, and some guy didn't pay somebody, and he just kind of like pushes him off the ledge. So he falls down and goes, 2 to 3 stories, doesn't die, but breaks some bones after a small, very... And Ray never really raises his voice, doesn't get really mad, just kind of doing his thing, and that, yeah. So Ray's got a brother, again, another show where it's like I just finished watching it, and then I pull up the cast list, and I'm like, who is who? So he's got a brother, I think his brother is Bruce, that's my guess, looking at the cast list. But he's got a brother who's disabled or something, so a lot of the lines I can't hear come from Bruce. He's got a daughter, Brittany, and she's, 8 or 9 years old. She's been in the show, she's obviously in the show, but again, more so of the crime thing than really like family life so far in season 1. Ray's, it seems to be like, I'm just, season 1, so I'm just kind of feeling out the character, don't really know how everyone's related, whatnot. But Gary seems to be Ray's number 1, crime compatriot. He also goes into routinely goes into a pool hall nightclub area where he's got somebody else owes him some money. Looking at the cast list, I can't pick him out, but I think I've seen that actor somewhere else. Oh, it's always a headache when I can't match the actors to the names on the list. But so he knocks the dudes off off the thing. He goes into this pool hall with this other guy who owes him $10K, and I really just need the characters' names. I don't know, I'll start picking people if they're the wrong character names, I'm sorry. But he goes in there, and it's kind of like a dude, there's an undercover cop that you learn about, probably about season or episode 4 or 5, but there's this main dude in a pool hall, there's an undercover cop that's acting like a criminal, and so Ray, this undercover cop, they go rough up a dude. Ray kind of threatens his family, and he agrees to pay up the money. And so the next thing that Ray kind of does is he kills some guy. It's not exactly clear as to if it's just a different guy, if it's the guy from the pool hall wants Ray to go collect money from somebody else, and if he can collect that money, he can keep it. And then the next scene, or the next kind of guy or criminality that he does, is he kills this dude, where it's not sure, I'm not clear, I don't think it's the same guy. But it's not really sure, the first guy he killed, it's not really sure, what he's just a criminal for hire. You don't really get, background as to why he's killing this dude. At least I didn't pick up any background from that interaction. So he kills that guy, the cops visit him, he gets, court ordered to go to, therapy session for bashing, what the term they use in the show, but assault. And so he goes there, I believe that is for the opening scene when he pushes the dude off the ledge. And so he goes there, he kind of mocks the other people who are, beat their wives or kids. He's like, I bashed a dude who deserved it, not a kid or a wife. So he almost gets in a fight at the therapy session. You have a couple scenes throughout the season going through there. Ray's friend is married to Tatiana, who's a Russian lady. Her brother Vasily is in town for... I don't know, but he's in town for something. And the first way you meet Gary, who I believe that's his right-hand man, but Ray's right-hand man or compatriot or colleague or criminal friend in the show, his wife catches him with a golden shower fetish. That's when you piss on somebody. So Tatiana's not super happy that her husband Gary has a golden shower fetish. So Gary has Ray come over and act like it was his porno. Ray does so. You meet Vasily. And then the next kind of thing that happens with there is Vasily goes to rob Gary. And again, their brother-in-law. And so, again, kind of a funny scene. Again, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be comedic, but if it is comedy, it's super dry, which is the kind of humor I like. If it was slapstick comedy, this would be way, way down in the ratings, and I probably would have turned it off. But again, I just don't know if there was actually an intended comedy aspect. But I think with a golden shower fetish, and then with Vasily, he goes to rob Gary. He goes to get the safe. Gary texts Ray to come help him. Gary stalls. They go down to the basement to get the safe. Vasily goes back up after getting some guns, looks like some coke, maybe some money, and Ray kicks him down the stairs. And so Gary wants Ray to shoot him. Gary's like, no, you shoot him. So Gary shoots him in the head, and then Tatiana comes home. And so Gary's trying to keep Tatiana upstairs. He's like, hey, Ray, cut him up. It'll be easier to take out in a lot of pieces. So Ray's like, okay. He goes to chop his arm off, and the dude isn't dead. So he like cuts into his arm, he like starts screaming. Tatiana's like, what is that? Oh, it's Vasily. And then, Gary's like, well, he tried to rob us, so we shot him. And then Vasily was like, or Tatiana was, is that true? He's like, niet. But they both run out of the house, and it's just like Ray comes to the conclusion that the bullet just ricocheted off his skull and didn't actually enter his skull. But in the shooting scene, it definitely looks like it enters the skull. So again, not really, kind of a dry humor scene type of deal. But I think they'll now probably be out of the show. Again, real quick episode or season. I just don't know what's going to develop from here. But so that happens, kind of just like a goofy scene. After that, Gary gets Ray for Christmas. Again, just some sort of gun that I wasn't familiar with the body type at all. It didn't look like it was like a side loader magazine, machine gun type of deal. So maybe I haven't played Call of Duty in a while, which there is a new one of those out, but one of those type of weapons. And so he's got this automatic weapon. Ray gets a girlfriend. I believe that's Allie. Yeah, I believe it's Allie. There was one other girl, but Tatiana definitely sounds like a Russian lady. And Allie, I think it's his girlfriend. So he walks past this girl a couple times. She's a paramedic. He misses the opportunity the first time, runs into her again, and they start dating throughout the season. And so one night when he's at her house and she doesn't, he beats up a couple dudes in front of her that they beeped in front of his car. She's not in on the violence, so she clearly, her characterization is she does not know about Ray's career path. And he tells these people he's into security. He also beats up or kicks a dude, I guess young 20s. It's like a part of the plot. Some like late teens, early 20s bump into his daughter when they're walking down the street, knocks her ice cream cone over. Ray sees them later and kicks one of the dudes in the dick, and the other guy runs away. So that happens when he's at his girlfriend's house, Allie. He sees, he's some sort of, when Vasily robs him, no, so okay, this is before Vasily and the Tatiana thing, Gary gets put into a coma, like quickly into one of the seasons, or one of the episodes. And so Ray goes and beats up all the dudes that put his friend into a coma. Those dudes worked for another crime organization called Davros, or that's like their leader guy. And so Davros has to sit down in this this pool hall with this other criminal enterprise guy that's kind of like the liaison with Ray. And Ray, they kind of come to an agreement, and then Ray disrespects him at the end, like if you got your guys in order, we wouldn't have a problem to begin with. And so that's after he beats up the people for putting his friend in the coma. Gary gets out of the coma, within a couple episodes, and he's back, and that's when the Vasily Tatiana incident occurs. And so when Ray is at his girlfriend Allie's house, I think it's the Davros crew. You're not exactly sure, but the ops are about to slide. They have a big, white van. Ray has night vision goggles, sees three dudes in a van ready to pull up. So he leaves the bed, puts on a bulletproof vest, and leads the van away from the house. Gets into an abandoned street, jumps out, has his machine gun, mows down all the dudes in the white van. Backup comes, mows down that dude, so there's 3 or 4 bodies. He dips out of that scenario and goes back. Now he's like, where are we at? He's like, just tying up some loose ends or something. And he had another line, I couldn't remember exactly what he said because of the accent. And so, again, Allie's characterization is not aware that Ray is a shooter. And so that happens, and then, again, it's not clear to me if that incident is from Davros, but then follow up next is Ray. I think Ray comes out of one of his anger management or his therapy session things, and Ray's characterization is super chill. Like it's super, he doesn't raise his voice like he's mad. He just does what he does. And so one day, I think he's coming out of somewhere, but he gets hijacked by 2 dudes. Again, I can't remember, it's kind of like an older white dude, and then Bobby, whose characterization is pretty much being a dumb fuck. So again, another, maybe Dirk, but it's like an older white dude. and they carjack him. They basically get him as he's coming out of something. Another classic piece of cinema or of TV where they catch somebody slipping at the gas station. We've learned that before. We've covered that major theme. Don't be caught slipping at the gas station. And so I guess actually this one might be a hardware store. So he gets kidnapped, and he's like, the two dudes are supposed to take the Ray directly to Davros and his muscle dudes in this woods to be executed. And Ray says, I have $60-some thousand over here somewhere. And so they go and get it. It's in this old building. It's in this safe. And so he's like, I don't have the combination. You're gonna have to go to whatever the local Australian supermarket hardware store is and get just a thing to break open the safe. And so when they go to do that, two other dudes come out and steal the car that Ray's in the trunk of. And so Ray is in the boot of the trunk, or in the boot of the car. The two dudes, Bobby and the other guy that works for Davros, Bobby goes to get cigarettes, supposed to stay with the car, and the other dude goes in the hardware store to get the supplies, and when they come back, the car is gone. And then at the beginning of the next episode, you see two other criminals come over, and they're just stealing cars, stole this car, they take it to their dude at the chop shop. The dude at the chop shop realizes there's a dude in the boot, and he's like, well, I'm not going to be doing all this stuff, drives it to the middle of nowhere and just abandons it. Ray gets out of the trunk there, and comes back, and when he's in a coffee shop, he sees the two dudes with the safe. Because he was in the boot, didn't know who took the car, but he knew the safe was in this red bag. When he goes to this little coffee shop thing, he sees two dudes with the red bag. So he follows them, sees the dude where they took the chop shop to break open to the safe, and the chop shop dude saw Ray because he opened the trunk and saw him in there, and so he gets the safe back then. And so then he goes back to his car. When he gets into his car again, the first two dudes from the hardware store are already back in his car, ready to jack him again. So they do that. They take him to Davros in the woods. We have Ray digging his own grave. And then Bobby and this other dude were the ones that were just like hired contractors to bring him there. And so as Ray's digging the thing, right when they get the safe open, he jumps down. Turns out it was a bomb. So you get 4 or 5 guys gathered around, blowed up. They're all injured, not really dead. Ray was, covered by the earth. Gets out, starts popping them, taking care of them. Kills them all. Bobby's dead. All of them are dead except for the older white dude, who was really just, again, Ray's a criminal for hire. And the other dude was just, it wasn't, the beef was squashed once Davros was dead. So Ray lets that guy go, and that's really the end of the season. So again, overall, a quick season. I thought the violence and characterization for criminality was done well. Again, whether it's supposed the writing in a sense has to be. I just don't know if there's supposed to be comedy in this. But again, when the dude's already back in the car and then the arm scene, I think, but it's very dry. So I think regardless if it's supposed to be comedy or not, I think it gives a kind of different kind of flavor to the piece. So highly entertaining. The biggest reason it's not a B+, probably no real potential for me to be in the A range, but was literally just the articulation of the Australian accent. I thought the criminality was good. I thought the tone of Ray's characterization was good. No off-putting relationships yet. Oh, they did, but they make the undercover cop and they just let that guy go. They don't kill him. So that's really the resolution to all the plot developments we discussed. So I think I covered them all since it's such a short season, but if not, close enough. So definitely enjoyed it. Think the writing's good. Think it's a little different flavor, a little different tone than some of the other crime dramas I've watched, and not sure if there's supposed to be a comedic aspect for it. So overall, B, major themes, crime show, and don't be caught slipping at the gas station or the hardware store. So that's simple. So thank you for watching my review of Mr. Inbetween Season 1. I'll probably stick with it. Again, the only reason I wouldn't is this, but because of the Australian accent gets tiring to listen to. Just like in terms of straining my ears to hear what they're saying. But thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'll probably stay with it. If not, I'll probably go over to Animal Kingdom. Really, I forget what episode and what season I was at that one. Definitely like that one a lot, but I just don't know what season or what episode I stopped watching on, so it's like a chore to go figure out. But if not, I'll probably switch over from the genre of crime dramas for a while and do another romantic comedy or just life drama, or maybe The Good Doctors on Hulu. I like that show as well, and that's something different from crime. So after a couple crime shows, I like to go back to something different, and then just keep moving on. So thank you for watching, and keep working. Yeah, work hard. It's gonna pay off one day. Fuck no. Fuck no. So thank you for watching, and see you on the next one.